When it comes to tennis, the number one thing is consistency. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
You have to have consistency. That encompasses a lot of different things in tennis.
Well, what if you have elbow injury for a month and then ankle injury for another month or two, and something else? Right?
Wait a minute, what? You have
Well, if you
your
have
elbow hurt?
Like I have played because of the ankle now, and I was super busy with competition, so I didn't play. So consistency, you have to really dedicate yourself to it.
You do.
And, I have lapses of time where I don't
Yeah,
dedicate myself to it.
I get it.
Yeah. And
Well,
I don't
you're
like
talking about consistency of actually training. I'm talking about consistency of your shots. Having the ability to keep the ball in play and go back and forth. I want to like to get to a level where we can consistently exchange rallies that are 10 plus,
Okay.
meaning 10 times in a row.
I got you.
Now, this might sound simple as an easy task, but consistency in tennis encompasses everything. It encompasses your ball recognition, your intensity, your footwork, your stroke mechanics. Everything is encompassed if you want to be consistent and playing with the right technique. Of course, you can stand there and like push the ball and steer it and get 10 in a row. That's not what I want. I do want you to hit it with decent pace and not miss. And that is one of the most challenging things about tennis. And that's what I would like to work with you today. But generally, that's always one of my objectives in our lessons is to work on consistency. And then, of course, if I see technical flaws, I will correct them instantly, Anna.
A lot of my forehand balls are going out.
What?
And one of the coaches was watching me.
What
play.
coaches?
I don't know. So some guy, his son was playing at the next
Yeah?
court, and he told me that I have to like do something with the wrist because my wrist is not doing that at the end. So that's why my balls are flying out of the court. So I don't know.
Your balls
That
are.
I'm doing it on this side, like that.
You're doing
and
something
I'm
with the
not doing-
wrist.
I'm not doing.
You're not doing this
I should be doing this
with the wrist.
Well, something like
And
that.
that's going to help what?
To get them inside of the court on the other side. That's
Interesting.
what he told me.
What was the reasoning for that? You want to supposed to be using your wrist right at the contact right here?
No. So, I don't know. I guess something there.
And are you taking lessons with this guy or
No.
Are you sure?
I promise you.
I know you're not cheating,
no.
right?
Nope. No.
Okay,
no.
all right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
One time.
Oh, you did? Okay, well, I forgive you. It's
Just
okay.
one time.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't know what this guy meant by that, but what happens on some guys and girls, okay, guys, I mean both. What happens on some players is the following. Look, they come through here,
Yeah.
and now some will go like this, and others will go like this. So they'll break the wrist here a little bit, but that's like well after the ball's already left the racket. So it's irrelevant. Now, if this is something that feels good for you here, but that in itself not going to have any effect on the stroke itself, okay?
Yeah.
Not going to do anything. The ball's already long left the strings.
Right. But
What-
we already do semi-western grip because
Of
my face
course.
was open. And
Yes.
it's still going out. I just
Anna,
don't get it.
there could be many other reasons why it's going out, okay? I'm going to do
Doctor.
a deep examination of your issues. But what this guy, and I don't know what he meant, but what I'm assuming that he meant, he wants you to use the wrist to help the ball spin more and therefore go in the court more. So he wants you to go like this, most likely.
Most likely.
Now, I don't know.
Looks like it.
Because I'm like guessing, but you don't want to do this. You don't want to use the wrist. We talked about this many times. You're abruptly shorten the stroke. You have a higher chance of framing. You lose a ton of power, and the risk of injury increases drastically when you try to use the wrist. Also, if you are someone that doesn't do this naturally here, but you trying to snap the wrist at the very end, this might cause some wrist issues as well. Now, you already had tennis elbow, which we healed successfully. We don't want to put too much pressure here and start,
Right.
straining this part of the arm. Don't do that. Finish clean. Look, we already talked about the finish. You want to be right here, right?
Yeah.
Clean finish. And now let me take a look at your forehand, see why they're going long. How far along are they going? They're going into the fence, or they're going just a little bit out?
Out a little bit.
How much?
Not much.
That's not too bad, okay?
Okay.
Because I always say, look, if you hit the ball straight into the fence, that's what I call a catastrophic error. Now there's a catastrophe on your hands. You understand?
If it's hitting the
Straight into the fence.
Oh no, it doesn't do that.
Okay. Or if it goes very far out, like 2-3 meters,
No, no.
that's a catastrophic error. There's some humongous technical flaw in your forehand. Could be many different things, but there's something really, really wrong. If it's missing by this much, or if it's missing by this much, there might not necessarily be anything wrong with your technique. It might be shot selection. It might be the fact that you are overhitting a little bit, not putting enough spin. It could be some of those things. A little bit of timing, maybe small errors. That is my guess, but let me check, okay? Go right here and hit a few. Anna, this is one of the most beautiful days I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
There's no wind, perfect temperature, perfect day to play tennis. Okay, do it again. Anna, these are looking crisp. Another one. Good.
Well,
Anna,
what was that?
I'm glad that happened. That's what I call a catastrophic error.
Right.
You saw where the ball landed? Straight into the fence. Now you're laughing, but it's actually not funny. You know why? Because you know what you did?
So funny.
You snapped at the ball like this. Here's the ball, look. All right, here's the face of the ball. It says pen right here, okay? You come at that ball and you slap it like this, it's gonna fly like crazy. You have to come at the ball and caress. Think about caressing it. So with that mental image in mind, when you come over it, you don't want to slap it like this and do this, but more caress the ball this way. So keep this angle of your hand and the racket for a while after making contact. You're going to go around, and you're going to rotate, all that is true, but don't like go like this and slap the ball. It's going to respond by shooting very far with very little control. So you come over it like this. See, if you look at the pros, no matter how much spin they're putting, the tip of the racket is always pointing towards that side shortly after contact, which is an indicator that they keep this part very stable shortly after contact.
So it's my wrist.
Yeah, so if you change this angle, if you go like this or like this, the wrist right at contact results in a disaster.
Gotcha.
Okay? Okay, that for example wasn't that bad of a miss. Like you hit it pretty clean, it still went out. So there might have been some small things there. Maybe you went a little bit too much like this, but not a full release. Maybe just a little slap,
Right.
you know?
Gotcha.
Okay, there's a push. So that's a completely different scenario. You won't see the ball go into the fence, but you see it go long a lot. If you slow down in here and you start pushing forward, that'll make the ball what I call steering. You'll steer the ball long. Okay, very little rotations on the ball. It's a slow push. The ball will go out, not by that far, but it's going to be hard.
Speaking of consistency, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these things happen, and
Yeah, it's part of tennis. So you're going to run into these issues, and there's a matter of you having the ability to know what happened and correct it when you're by yourself, when you don't have me. And also,
and you're feeding it perfectly for me. So
well, I'm
it's
going to
not
be
like
I'm going to be rallying with you in a minute, and we'll check again. But it's a matter of you self-correcting when you're playing. Anna, that was clean. Come again. Maybe the best one so far. Let me go on the other side and we'll hit.
This is not top spin. That was just boom. I don't
Well,
know.
it wasn't a heavy topspin, but don't worry
Because
about
it
that.
went right over the net.
Well, you look at the flight path of the ball, which is not directly correlated to topspin, by the way. So ball can have different shape. It can go a little higher over the net, or it can go a little bit more shallow over the net. You can still hit with topspin even though the ball goes shallow. Don't worry about that other than trying to go up at the ball. Right at when you meet the ball, if you go up and continue to go up here to this side, your ball will have topspin. Whether it's going to be super heavy topspin, that's going to depend. If you make the ball go too high over the net, you can get too spinny. So if you're too vertical here, if you go straight up like this, that can turn into like a topspin lob and the ball all of a sudden goes too high. It has a lot of spin, but it loses some of its penetration. So don't worry too much about net height. Yes, you want to have decent net height, but it also shouldn't be way too high over the net. Okay, because then you lose penetration. All right, so let me go over there and we're going to test to see what the forehand looks like. You stand right here. Good. Try. Good. Don't slap. Stay on your toes, keep your feet moving a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, like don't be flat-footed in between the shots. Like move more between the shots. Stay on your toes and really focus on tracking the ball and finding it better. From here, I want you to confidently swing to here. Don't be scared in here, don't steer. So a lot of times you're still being careful here. You're pushing through like this, you're steering. The racket face still has a tendency to open up. Confidently finish here, right here. Anna, you did 10 in a row. Very nice. Good, Anna.
Yeah, positioning throws me off a lot.
Especially the short balls.
I think
You don't see them. So let's finish off with some clean forehands. I want you to go cross court. You stay right there, ready position. All right, listen, this is the thing about tennis.
Yes.
It's easy to just do a couple of good shots, but what if we have to get consecutive good shots?
Yeah.
That's the next step in the program.
Yeah.
When I'm hand feeding you, you do a really good job. Your forehand looks very clean. But when I do live ball with you at the
you
net,
take a spoon, and then it's harder.
Listen, when I'm at the
Hand feeding is better.
by hand feeding, like literally.
Yes.
But anyway, when I'm at the net or at the baseline, all of a sudden it's live ball, more unpredictable, you struggle. Why do you struggle? Your ball recognition is bad. Why has your ball recognition been kind of stuck and halted, not really getting that much better?
Yeah.
Because your readiness or your intensity is lacking. A lot of times you're still stuck standing around.
I'm stuck, yeah.
You're standing around your heels. Remember what I told you a gazillion times. Intensity, stay on your toes, keep your feet moving. We still got work to do. We're doing good, but we got to keep improving, okay?